Be good if I added myself to the stage. I'll be starting in just a second. I want to make sure I give folks a minute to get on here. Okay, I am bursting at the seams with podcast episode joy, so I will try to stick to my notes to have some sort of semblance of order to this episode that I have to share with you like right now. I have not even finished this episode, but it's so amazing that even if you only get halfway through like I'm in right now, I will finish it. But even if you only get halfway in, I think you will have a much more practical, reasonable full view of where you should start with your AI journey for podcasting. Well, in general, but specifically, we're going to talk about it with podcasting. Let's just go into this. Well, after I say who I am, hi, I'm Steph from Coffee Like Media. I am curious about everything, and especially right now, AI, the large language models, LLMs like ChatGPT, and man, is my curiosity piqued about Claude 3 and I don't know if I'm excited about Bard, but we'll get there. I usually help podcasters, small business folks, community leaders create, manage, and get their podcasts out into the world in a way that attracts the right folks to what they're doing. Connections. Podcasting is all about connections for me. It's not just marketing, but that's a part of it. Anyway, that's a whole different episode. What I want to talk about right now, what I need to talk about right now is this episode. So I'm going to tell you the specifics so you can find it. I'll have it in the show notes wherever you're viewing this so you can click on it. The transcript is not even up yet. It's such a new episode. It's not mine. It's actually Ezra Klein and of the New York Times. It's the Ezra Klein Show. The title is "How Should I Be Using AI Right Now?" And that practical title got me to listen to it right now. Normally, I would listen to Ezra later on in the day. This is the middle of a work day. To be quite honest with you, I don't have time to be listening to an episode right now, but that title really got me. Really, really got me. So, who is he talking to? He is talking to Ethan Mollick, and you can read all about Ethan and his newsletter, which of course I am now subscribed to, and his new book, Co-Intelligence: Living and Working with AI. So there's that. I will have it in the show notes for you. I can't pull exact quotes because the transcript's not available yet, but what I would strongly suggest for those of you who are interested in this is to scan Ezra's questions and either read that section in the transcript once it's available tomorrow or go to that section in the podcast episode itself. I know you might be strapped for time and it is not a short episode. How long is it? It is 49 plus 24. So it's over an hour. So I get that. I get being time strapped, but definitely dig into the transcripts if nothing else. This is a really, really practical, useful, curious episode. And let me just get rid of all the adjectives and tell you some of the things that I've heard so far. Ethan and Ezra have been talking about, well, Ethan specifically is talking about using ChatGPT and other LLMs, using them like a human, like talking to them, not using them like a tool, even though they are a tool. Does this sound familiar? If you've listened to any of my other episodes where I'm experimenting with ChatGPT, that is exactly what I've ended up doing, which is not what I expected to be doing, especially with the voice prompts that I'm using. I am literally talking and massaging the things that I want to know and the things I want ChatGPT. I'm using 3.5 right now because I'm doing a presentation in a few weeks for PodFest AI Summit. And I want to make sure that I'm using the most accessible one, and 3.5 is free. After that, I'm going to play with 4. I can't hold back any longer than that. Anyway, that'll be at the end of April. There'll be more information at coffeelike.substack.com, and you can sign up to view that and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I hope that you join me for that. But what I've noticed is when I'm using the voice prompt, how I'm maneuvering the tool called ChatGPT. I like to call her Chatty. The voice prompt I use the most is this really kind of laid back female voice. You've probably heard it on some of the other episodes. And So I've noticed that that's easier. It's easier because it's more of a back and forth, which is what Ethan was talking about in this episode with Ezra. He was like, "I know it's a tool. We think of technology as a tool, but use it more like a conversation. Use it more like a back and forth, like you're talking to a human." And I know that's going to creep you guys out. I know that will creep you out. And I get it. I mean, he was even talking about, and I'm going to say the word wrong, ephemorphizing. I cannot say that word. I've never been able to say that word. Humanizing. Let's use that one. We're like trying to remind ourselves these are not humans. LLMs are not humans. AI are not humans. And yet here Ethan is saying treat it like a human. It's this back and forth and back and forth. If it's a tool, it's a human. It's not a human, but it's like a human. I should talk to it like a human. I know. I know. And that's what's so good about Ezra in this, because his whole premise in this is he's using, I don't remember exactly which LLM he's using, but he's like, I'm using them, but I always forget to try them in this way or that way, or I don't know how to incorporate them into my daily life. And I think a lot of people are in that mode. And I was using it for primarily one or two things before a month or so ago when I started this series, because I didn't know what else to do other than do summaries with it. So I literally took a course to jumpstart um how, like, the kinds of prompts that I would use. And then once I found the voice prompt and how to do that, thank you, Cristina Maris, an amazing audio magician. I want to call her. She's amazing. I'll have a link to her information and her audio productions in the show notes as well. She's the one that introduced me to the voice prompt, and it just changed everything. I went from, like Ethan was saying, trying to use a tool to having this negotiation with my assistant called Chatty. And it's just mind blowing. So they just in the half of the episode that I've listened to so far, they have talked about like where to start the different personalities of the different LLMs that are the most popular, like the ChatGPT 3.5, 4, but mostly ChatGPT, Claude, Bard, and so on. They didn't go into too many. I think he did about 3 or 4 different ones, but they went into the personalities and kind of like what they're the best at. And I didn't know any of that. I mean, Bard being the most helpful, Claude being the most human-like, ChatGPT being this way. I mean, just those things. I don't know. I'm trying not to use too many LLMs at once because these are learning curve with each one of these, and it takes time. It takes time to learn them. And I want to get really good at prompt engineering, and then I want to explore and find the one that really suits what I need. But I think the best advice I heard so far, and this is the last I'll say about the episode, is Ethan saying, literally take it to work with you. I mean, you're already on your computer, right? But he was saying, every task you do, ask yourself, how can I use the LLM, in this case ChatGPT, for podcasting, right? That's what we're doing in this series. How can I use this to help me? And he was talking not just about summaries, but about rephrasing sentences. I shared on LinkedIn a few days ago, I needed a dad joke for for show notes, for a humorous ending to show notes. And so I asked it to do that from the transcripts, and just all kinds of things. Like if you literally get stuck, this is my advice. If you get stuck anywhere in your podcast workflow, literally go to the mobile app, because if you're going to do a conversation, do a voice conversation with Chatty, go to the voice app and say, hi, I need your help in doing blah, and go back and forth with ChatGPT. Start there, go back and forth verbally out loud with ChatGPT, and try to do that thing. Try to do that thing. I kid you not. That is probably the easiest way to start using it. So I agree with him. Just try to keep bringing it into whatever you're doing during the day. He said when he did this with his students, like he lectured on AI and LLMs and all these, theoretical and then practical things. And he said, and then we did the hands-on component. And he said that his students did things with their LLM in their workplace that he had no idea you could even do. And this is the most shocking part. He said there isn't really a manual for ChatGPT or other LLMs because everybody's figuring it out at the same time. Ah! I mean, wrap your head around that. Most tools that exist, there's like the people who've created them can tell you how to use them, right? If not train you how to use them, if not charge you to train you how to use them, right? But these are actually being developed, and use cases are cropping up all the time from people who literally just sit down, like Ethan said, and use it with their work and then create these ways of using the tools. So I hope that inspires you, one, to listen to this full episode show um, on how to get started with AI. And two, I hope you take the voice prompt version on the app of ChatGPT 3.5, which is free, absolutely free. Use the voice prompt to see what parts of your podcasting workflow you can make easier. I'm not going to promise you it will save you time because it's not really saving me time yet, but it's saving me headspace. It's saving me mental stress, or block, like when I have a block, or when I can't decide, or when I just can't think outside of what I'm used to doing. That's when it really, really helps me. And yeah, so I hope that if you get stuck on something, you turn to Chatty and you just go back and forth until you get something that is useful for you. If you do let me know. Coffeelike.substack.com. All my contact information is there. You can sign up for the newsletter that has a bit more information about what I'm doing with this series on ChatGPT for podcasting. I also, some of these episodes are also like specific things that I'm using it for, and some of them are more like this, where there is just something that I had to talk about these things that are changing our lives. And I know it can be scary because there can be negative things happening from these, loss of jobs, rapid change in everything. I get all that. I'm trying to lean on the side of optimism because, period. Just because. Okay, coffeelike.substack.com. Again, check the show notes for the AI summit that I'm going to be speaking at. I'm going to be talking about transcripts in ChatGPT 3.5 into marketing assets that will be useful, plentiful, and that you will massage to sound more like yourself. All right. Thank you. Bye.